Hi everyone, this is Sam from Gamereactor live from Birmingham, and we're looking at the Dead of Day. Dead of Day is sort of about resource management. What can you tell us about the resource management side of it, and what can you tell us about the game in general?
So it's a old school dungeon crawler. The idea is that you start off in America, you're on your own, there's been a zombie apocalypse, you're running out of food and water, so you have to get out there and kind of find resources. So you start off on your own to do that, but over time you collect survivors. These survivors will also eat your food and drink, so it's kind of always pushing you out into the world to find more equipment. The idea is that over time you upgrade your base to improve it, which gives a better morale for the people that are with you. You can take up to 5 survivors with you into the world. Anybody who's left is still there eating your food, drinking your drink. So there's quite a lot of sort of time management, resource management, but there's also a morale system. So you will get missions throughout the game to do certain things. You can choose to ignore it if you wish. If you do, that person may get very unhappy. They may leave your base. If you complete that task, you're not collecting resources, but you're spending precious time that you might need.
Yeah. Cool. And survivors are obviously key to building your base up. How can you build your base up? What can you do with it to upgrade it?
So when you go out in the world to collect resources, you can use those to upgrade your base. So for example, you can build a well. Water is an essential resource for any human to survive. So you build a well, that gives you a water bonus, which means when you go out into the world, you're not worrying so much about collecting water for your inhabitants back at the base. You can upgrade power supply, you can build a windmill. Those kind of things give happiness to the staff that are there, the people that are there. So you end up having a happy town. The ultimate aim of the game is to create a civilization to survive the zombie apocalypse. You've got to basically survive 2 years to complete the game.
And out in the world, when you're not building your base, you have to fight zombies. What form does that take, the combat?
So it takes the form of an old school dungeon crawler. It's a first-person view that shows sort of like a dungeon corridor which you move through. There's 2 types really. There's what's called a quick battle, which is a single room which you just fight zombies and collect the resources, but that's really quick. And then the second type is where you actually have to search a building, going through various rooms and corridors, going upstairs, going into different levels, which takes longer. There's more risk, but there's more reward. So you have to decide, do I do quick missions to collect quick resources? But if you've got a lot of survivors who are eating a lot of food and drinking a lot of drink, you might need to do the more complicated missions.
How much depth have you got planned in terms of equipment available in environments the player can see in the final product?
So in terms of survivor equipment, I've got about 100 different items right now. So you've got anything from swords, knives, chainsaw, crossbow, Molotovs, the standard sort of zombie kind of equipment, as well as sort of like packets of crisps, chocolates, resources that kind of don't go off. There's no fruit and vegetables because obviously they would go off too quickly. So there's quite a few bits of equipment. I'm still adding more as we go along.
I spoke a little bit that it reminded me a bit of The Walking Dead. What are the other inspirations behind this game?
The main inspiration is a game called Dungeon Master from about 1980 something or other. It's quite an old game. That was the original concept, but those games used to focus mainly on wizards and warriors and spells, so they'd been done quite a lot. So I decided I love zombies, I love The Walking Dead, why not change it to zombies instead? Because zombies works well in a corridor-based system. The problem for me was that it needed something else, which is why I've built the base building and the survival aspects as well on top.
The version that we've seen here is a very early build. How is development going, and what are the plans you're most excited to implement in the future?
So I've been working on the game for about 1.5 years. I'm doing the design and programming, and I've got a team of artists in Indonesia who are doing a fantastic job. It is early in development, but we're picking up speed now as we're getting the core game bits in. The plan is that we're currently on green light, and we're looking to go in early access in December. The bit that I'm really looking forward to finishing off is the corridor dungeon crawling system. I've done the back end of it, which is where you draw basically the levels. That's all done. I've just got to plug it into the game. So I'm really excited to get that up and running.
Something we should have mentioned is the 2 phases of the campaign, the first phase and the second phase that you talked to us a little bit about. Can you fill us a little in about that?
Yeah, so I mean, effectively, your character is quite important. If you die, the game's over. But you get to choose from 2 characters at the start. They have their own origin story. Depending on which character you pick, they will have a different story as they go through the game. They'll have a different impact on the other survivors. You pick up survivors as you go along, and they will respond to how you react. So if you are not a very nice leader, they potentially can leave the base, which is a negative effect because though they're eating your food, drinking your drink, you still need them. You'll need them to go out on missions with you. The idea is that you've got 2 years to survive, and as you do that, the story will unfold.
And what platforms could we expect Dead of Day on?
So initially it's been made on PC. I have got potential plans of moving it onto PlayStation Vita. I know a lot of people are not releasing stuff on Vita anymore, but the dungeon crawling sort of game is something I really want to do in the future on Vita. So initially it's going to be PC and Mac, and then I'm going to look at other platforms in the future.
Thank you very much for your time.